In a world with over 8 billion people, it's fascinating how each one of us holds unique traits and skills that make us different. Sure, we all share basic things like 2 legs, arms, and ears, but some people are so rare and odd that they don't even look real. From unexplainable conditions to unbelievable appearances, these are the 15 most unusual people in the world. But before we get into that, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe. And with that said, let's begin with number 15, Lin May. Well, for a time, Lin was one of Mexico's most famous stars. Her real name is Lilia Guadalupe Mendiola, though audiences knew her for the bold cabaret performances and film roles that made her famous during the late 20th century. Fame, however, carries a quiet pressure that many performers feel as the years pass. Lin wanted to keep the youthful appearance that audiences had always admired. So to her, cosmetic treatment seemed like a fine solution. But one decision led to a devastating turn in her life. Trusting advice from someone close to her, she visited a clinic for facial injections that were supposed to preserve her beauty. But what she received instead was a dangerous mixture of household oils placed beneath her skin. The reaction was immediate and painful. Swelling and infections followed, and the damage proved permanent despite many corrective procedures. In later years, Lin chose to speak openly about the experience, hoping others would learn from the mistake that changed her life forever. Number 14, David Matlock. When David met the woman who would later become his wife, he already saw something rare in her appearance. But he also imagined how far physical transformation could go. As a plastic surgeon with a deep interest in fitness, David thinks the human body could be reshaped through a combination of surgery, discipline, and relentless training. Over time, he began guiding both his own lifestyle and his partners toward the demanding world of competitive bodybuilding. And then, medical procedures, strict diets, and intense workout schedules gradually changed their physiques into the sculpted forms seen on stage competitions. Supporters describe their story as a shared commitment to self-improvement and dedication. But critics question whether such transformations blur the line between encouragement and control. And David insists the process was always about helping his partner feel stronger and more confident in her own skin. Their story continues to spark debate about beauty and how far people should go in pursuit of perfection. Number 13, Jose Serrano. This Mexican boy spent much of his childhood carrying a weight no child should ever face. From birth, a rare condition caused a huge mass to grow along his neck and shoulder. As the years passed, the swelling became so large that it dwarfed the rest of his small body. Due to this, he can't breathe without pain, and sleeping comfortably has become nearly impossible. Even eating the simplest meal turned into a struggle. Doctors in his hometown tried to help, but had no resources for such a complicated case. For a long time, his family lived with the fear that nothing could be done. Then hope arrived from an unexpected place. Missionaries in the U.S. helped arrange treatment and raised enough money to bring Jose to a children's hospital in New Mexico. A large surgical team worked for 12 exhausting hours to remove a major portion of the mass. Today, Jose can breathe easier, sit upright, and finally attend school like other normal children. Number 12, Zoe Pierce. For years, Zoe felt as though her own body had turned against her. No matter how carefully she watched her diet or how hard she pushed herself through exercise, her legs kept growing larger and more painful. Confusion slowly turned into frustration, and eventually, doctors explained the reason. Zoe was living with lipoedema, which causes abnormal fat accumulation, mostly in women. The illness gradually spread beyond her legs, reaching other areas of her body and making everyday movement increasingly difficult. Despite the seriousness of her case, medical treatment remained frustratingly limited. Requests for surgical help were dismissed as cosmetic rather than necessary care. Still, Zoe refused to let that silence her. Instead of hiding from the condition, she began sharing her experience online. Thousands of women who had been struggling without answers started recognizing the same symptoms in themselves. Many people thank her for speaking openly about this topic. Zoe continues raising awareness today, hoping that one day the condition will finally receive the understanding and treatment it deserves. Number 11. The Asian Elephant Man. Well, most of us remember the famous Elephant Man from history, but far away in West Bengal lives another man whose life has taken a similar fate. His name is Kanai Das. Since childhood, his body has been shaped by a rare illness that slowly covered parts of his face and arm with thick, heavy growths. This condition is NF1, and for Kanai, and it brought more than appearance changes. It brought pain, itching, and the loss of sight in one eye. Life never gave him comfort or chance. These days, at 43, he spends long hours near a bus station asking for small donations just to survive. Some people leave coins not out of pity, but because they believe he resembles the Hindu god Ganesha. Even that strange form of respect creates issues. Barbers refuse to touch his hair, afraid it might offend something sacred. Kanai doesn't see himself as divine. He simply dreams of surgery one day, hoping to live pain-free and normally like everyone else. Number 10. Philip Angus. Philip never expected to become known around the world for something as unusual as his jaw. For most of his life, it was simply a strange little party trick he could show friends, opening his mouth wider than anyone else in the room. People laughed, tried to copy him, and quickly realized they couldn't come close. Then, someone suggested measuring it properly, and that's when things became surprising. The distance his jaw could stretch turned out to be extraordinary, large enough to earn a place in the record books. Videos spread quickly online, bringing a mix of amazement and disbelief from viewers everywhere. Despite the attention, Philip hasn't built his life around the record. He still spends his days like anyone else in his hometown, working and enjoying time with friends. And the unusual ability remains just one quirky detail about him. For Philip, the fascination people feel is understandable. He is pretty unique. Number 9. Chantal Sébiré. In France, many of us first heard the name Chantal Sébiré during one of the country's most heartbreaking public debates. For most of her life, she lived quietly as a teacher and a devoted mother raising 3 children. Life moved forward in the ordinary way until a rare cancer began growing deep inside her nasal cavity, slowly changing everything. As time passed, the disease spread across her face and took away several of her senses. She lost her sight, and soon after, smell and taste disappeared as well. Pain followed her constantly, day and night, and even the strongest medication brought almost no relief. Facing that reality, Chantal made a deeply personal request. She asked the courts to allow her the right to end her life peacefully. To her, a dignity meant having the choice to escape suffering that had become impossible to endure. But the court refused, explaining that the law did not allow assisted death. As of now, we've no idea how she is. Number 8. Veena and Vani Murali. Well, for these twin sisters, life began in the most unusual way imaginable. The girls were born connected at the head, their skulls joined so closely that they cannot ever see each other's faces. Doctors immediately knew their case would be extremely complex. And for years, the sisters lived inside a children's hospital in Hyderabad while specialists studied the possibility of separation. Surgeons searched around the world for someone willing to attempt the operation. But every expert reached the same tragic conclusion. The risk was simply too great. One mistake could cost both lives. While doctors debated the medical challenge, another painful reality unfolded. Their parents, overwhelmed by poverty and fear, slowly stopped visiting. Months passed without a single trip to see the girls. Hospital staff stepped in to care for them, becoming the closest thing to family they had. Yet a hospital cannot replace a home forever. Their story reveals a difficult truth about hardship, where love, fear, and survival sometimes collide. Number 7. Cynthia Murphy. Well, Cynthia grew up hearing words no child should ever hear. We mean many kids pointed, laughed, and called her ugly before she was old enough to understand why. She was born with Treacher-Collins syndrome, a rare condition that affects the bones and structure of the face. Her eyes, jaw, and ears developed differently, and growing up meant endless hospital visits and surgeries. Childhood felt lonely and painful, shaped by teasing and the quiet belief that love probably belonged to someone else. By the time she reached adulthood, she had already gone through more than a dozen major operations trying to rebuild parts of her face. For a long time, she believed relationships simply weren't meant for her life. Then, at 19, she met a man named Thane. He saw none of the labels that had followed her for years. To him, she was simply beautiful. Their marriage has now lasted more than a decade, and they're very happy. Number 6. Kanya Sesser. Kanya's life began in circumstances that could easily have written a very different story. This girl from Thailand was left behind shortly after birth before being adopted by a family in the U.S. And from the beginning, however, Kanya refused to see her body as something limiting. Growing up in Oregon, she built a fearless love for movement and adventure. She learned to skateboard using her hands for balance, raced down hills with incredible speed, and later explored sports like surfing and wheelchair racing. Her determination quickly caught attention far beyond the athletic world. Modeling agencies recognized her striking confidence and invited her to appear in campaigns that challenged traditional beauty standards. Instead of hiding her difference, Kanya proudly displayed it. Today, she continues building a career that blends sports, modeling, and motivational speaking. Her message reaches people around the world, reminding them that strength rarely depends on physical form, but grows from determination and belief in oneself. At number 5, Shakul. Some children begin life surrounded by love, but some enter a world that doesn't understand them, and Shakul was one of the latter. Born in rural Uganda, his bright blue eyes and a pale streak running across his forehead immediately drew suspicion from people around him. Local superstition whispered that something unnatural had happened. Fear replaced compassion, and his own mother eventually walked away from him. But one person refused to believe those stories. His grandmother, Annamatovu, took him into her small home, even though she had almost nothing herself. Doctors later explained that Shakul had Waardenburg syndrome, a rare genetic condition affecting hearing and pigmentation. He cannot hear at all, yet silence never stopped his curiosity. He studies everything with attention, building small things, touching objects, and learning through expression. Teachers say he knows far more than people assume. With help from a local support program, and he is now going to a school for deaf children and lives happily. Number 4. Mitchell. Some people choose a favorite color. Mitchell chose an entire way of living. For him, pink is not simply part of his wardrobe, but the center of his identity. Since the late 2000s and 10s, nearly everything in his daily life has followed that single shade. Clothes, decorations, and even small details around his home reflect the same vibrant color. And the choice began as a personal style, but gradually grew into something much larger. Mitchell developed a fascination with dramatic beauty looks, especially bold eyelashes and glamorous makeup, inspired by television and pop culture. Over time, he also explored cosmetic procedures that helped shape the appearance he imagined for himself. For Mitchell, these changes were never about hiding flaws. They were about building a look that felt authentic to his personality. Friends often say he treats style like an art form, carefully crafting the version of himself he wants the world to see. Did you like it? Number 3. Maria Jose Cristerna. If someone asked you to picture a lawyer, Maria probably would not match that image. Long before the world knew her as the vampire woman, she lived a far more conventional life as a trained attorney and mother raising 4 children. Her fascination with tattoos began early during her teenage years, and when a small piece of ink marked the first step toward a very different identity. Life later brought difficult experiences, including an abusive relationship that forced her to rediscover her strength. Rather than allowing pain to define her, Maria chose transformation. Over the years, she gradually covered nearly her entire body with tattoos and introduced dramatic modifications that gave her the appearance she embraces today. Titanium horns rest on her forehead, and crafted dental implants complete the image that made her famous around the world. Despite the attention her look attracts, Maria's deeper mission is empowerment. Through her tattoo studio and public talks, she encourages others to reclaim control over their lives. Number 2. Robert Hogue. When Robert was born, the reaction inside the hospital room was not a celebration. Severe facial deformities and physical complications shocked the medical staff and even his own family. His mother later admitted that fear overwhelmed her during those first moments, and she questioned whether she could raise a child whose life would be filled with challenges. Doctors suggested institutional care, believing it might be easier for everyone involved. The turning point came from Robert's siblings, who insisted he belonged at home. Their determination slowly changed everything. Over the years, Robert endured several complex surgeries designed to reshape parts of his face and improve his vision. Each procedure carried risks, and he decided to stop undergoing further operations. As he grew older, Robert built a career in journalism and later worked in political communications. His story finally became a book that spoke honestly about identity, family, and the complicated ways society defines appearance and acceptance. Number 1. Ralph Souffront. Ralph didn't look like anyone else. His skin is deep brown, his hair burned red, and across his face are freckles so noticeable that people rarely forget them. As a kid, that attention wasn't always kind. School days often came with teasing and stares that made him feel like an alien. For a long time, Ralph tried to ignore it. Then something unexpected happened. A casting call in New York gave him a chance most people never get. Out of thousands of hopeful models, when he was chosen to appear in Kanye West's Yeezy Season 3 show at Madison Square Garden, the moment changed everything. Soon after, major brands started calling. Campaigns followed with companies like Fendi, Adidas, and Diesel. Beyoncé's Ivy Park even introduced him as its first male model. The same freckles people once mocked became his signature. Today, Ralph walks runways around the world, not by hiding what made him different, but by owning it. If you found this video fascinating, be sure to like and subscribe. We'll catch you soon in the next one.